Okay, Holly Taylor, season 4 of The Americans wraps up Wednesday on FX. And I was just saying before we went live, this is the best season you guys have ever done.
Thank you so much. It's been really, really fun to shoot. I mean, it's definitely a crazy season, and I don't know how every year they somehow manage to make it more surprising and more exciting, and the stakes always get higher, so I only expect the best from them. I mean, the writers and creators of the show are so talented.
Right. And a lot of that has to do with what they've done to your character because after it was like middle of season 3 when she finally found out the truth. Ever since then the show has just, gone up on this upwards progression, getting better and better and more intense and more twists and turns. Speaking about season 4, is there one scene that you could pick out as your favorite scene of the year?
With season 4, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of, I guess, traumatic scenes for Paige and a lot of scenes that were really challenging as an actor. But I think one of my favorite scenes was the scene where Elizabeth is telling me about where she grew up. And it was actually in one of the recent episodes. And I don't know, I mean, it seemed more quiet and obviously a lot less dramatic, at least for my character. But it was really nice to work with Carrie like that and watch her do a scene like that, which on paper doesn't seem like a huge deal. But in the grand scheme of things, it's Elizabeth finally warming up to her daughter and actually letting go a little bit and being able to talk about her past, which she hasn't been able to do with Paige for the past 15 years. So I just thought it was a really nice scene, and Carrie made me cry a little bit the way that she performed it. She did a really great job, so I like that one. It's sweet.
Yeah. Last week's episode was a really strong Paige episode with the aftermath of the mugging and then that scene you're talking about, and then the scenes where she's kind of giving intel now to her parents about the Beamans next door. Talking about the mugging for a second, what was it like, Paige finally got to see her mother in action, like physically taking someone down. That must have been kind of a twist for the Paige relationship with her mother.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it changed a lot of things. I mean, as much as it kind of clears things up in a way, it also opens up a door of a whole new mystery that she has to figure out. I mean, Paige is always asking questions, as we see, which I think is understandable. I mean, she just found out that her parents are spies. She doesn't know what that really entails. So there's a lot that she would like to know, and one of the reasons that she would like to know things is so that she knows that her family isn't in danger. I mean, they are her, no matter how much they've lied to her over the years, and she does still care about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for her, one of her main priorities is finding out what exactly they do and if they're putting themselves in danger, and to see her mom actually killing somebody obviously raises some more questions as to what they do and why she was able to do that so easily.
Right, and that was really the first time she had fear in her eyes because previously she didn't really trust them all the way, but now in that moment I kind of felt like Paige was afraid of her mother. But then of course as they talked about the scene, it was a little bit better after they had that conversation that you said in the room where she mentioned her growing up in Russia and that really close moment that the two characters shared together kind of made up for the mugging incident and the murder that took place the night before.
Yeah, it kind of compensates. I mean, in the Jennings household, they have those little things that somehow manage to make up for like your mom murdering someone, So it's like you take one big thing and then kind of reel it back in with a few sweet little moments somehow, but that's just how their household works.
Have the last 2 seasons, has this been like an actor's dream for you? Because the character was kind of in the background the first couple years, and now season 3 and 4, she's really, stepped up to the plate. Paige has, and you have as an actress.
Yeah, I think that I'm very, very grateful for what the Jays have done and all the writers have done with the episodes. I mean, from season 1, I had no idea that this is how the storyline was come. I mean, this is my first TV show. It's really my first acting gig in the business. So it's really cool for it to turn out this way. I mean, obviously I'm uber lucky. I can't even explain how much. Not to I think that it's definitely been an honor, and the thing that makes me so happy is that the creators of the show trust me enough with that storyline, and I really enjoy telling it, so I don't want to let anyone down. So as much as I put a little bit of pressure on myself, I know that they support me and they trust me and help to guide me in the direction with the character. So it's a really nice role to have. I really enjoy it.
And you'll be doing it for 2 more years. Congrats on the pickup for season 5 and 6. What was your reaction when you found out you would get these final 2 seasons to close out the story?
I had so many different feelings at once. When it's definitely a little, I'm so excited, and it's amazing as an actor to have that security. I'm going into college next year, so it's really nice to know that at least for the next 2 years, unless I get killed off, fingers crossed that you never know with this show. But unless that happens, that I at least have a job for hopefully 2 more years. But at the same time, that it means that it's also ending at some point. So but I'm also really excited to see how they end it. So it's like, I don't want it to end, but I'm excited to see how it's going to end. So there's a lot of different feelings.
Right. And as far as like the writers, I'm sure they're so happy that they know now they have an end date. They can start writing toward the end of the show. I think Lost did that really well. And so maybe, I'm sure the writers are just over the moon that they have an end date. They know how much longer they have. I think it's 23 more episodes that they have to tell this great story.
Yeah, definitely, especially because it's so true to history. I mean, it's probably very nice for them to have a logistic timeline that they can follow now with exact dates and how they want to end it and what year they want to end it in. So I'm sure that's been very helpful for them.
Where do you want Paige to end up? Do you want her to become more and more involved in the spy game? Or do you want her to separate herself from her family and maybe move away and go to college? Like, where do you see Paige at the end of these next 2 seasons, at the end of the series finale episode?
I think it's definitely hard to say, just because I always tell everybody, like when people ask me what I want to happen to Paige, as soon as interview, it's like that opportunity goes out the window. Because it's like once you think something's going to happen in the show, it's not going to happen in the show, you know? Like the writers just always come up with these like twists and turns, and it's never ever what you expect it to be, which is why the show was so fun to watch. But I mean, I would really love Paige to be a spy. I've been saying that since day 1, season 1, when I was just sitting in the background being babysat. But I mean, I would love to be a spy, and I think that now with the way the storyline's going with the Beemans and things like that, and Paige having to work past her Tim and Alice, I think that she's kind of getting a taste of that, and as much as she's been so resistant to it, she's kind of pulling herself into it in her own way. So I think that it's definitely a possibility for her to go down that road.
At the beginning of the season, I'm glad you mentioned Pastor Tim, because I was so mad that Paige told Pastor Tim. I was like, no, don't do it. What was your reaction reading that script?
I mean, I had the same reaction reading that script, unfortunately. So I understand why everyone wanted me to be murdered at the end of season 3. I don't know. I didn't want to, I guess, betray my parents, but I think that the way that Paige was thinking of it, Pastor Tim is the one person she could trust. And to her, she wasn't necessarily betraying them. I think she just needed somebody to confide in. And for her, she's always needed that source in her life. I mean, she's never really had stability at home from her parents and somebody that she could count on. So that's what Pastor Tim is to her. He's kind of this paternal figure in her life and somebody that she could turn to. And I think that's what she did. And unfortunately, the thing that she needed help with wasn't really a secret that could be told to anybody at all, obviously, because it's had a lot of repercussions. So I think that that's what's caused a lot of problems in season 4. But I don't know. I try and understand what Paige is doing, and I know there's like a few people out there who don't understand why she feels the way she does. But I mean, it's hard for me not to be sympathetic for her. I mean, her whole life's upside down, and she just has so much going on, and she's just a teenager. It's like, how much can she deal with, you know?
Right. And she can't even talk to her brother, because he doesn't yet know about any of this that's going on. Are you rooting for Henry to find out, or do you think he's better off kind of being in the dark?
I mean, I don't know. I think that it's so hard to tell with Henry because I think that he's kind of naive, and for him, I think he's kind of in the mentality of ignorance is bliss at the moment. I mean, he kind of sees this stuff going on, and it might raise a few flags, but then he kind of just sits back and he's like, oh, whatever, I'll just go play some video games or look at new
He's always
pictures of
playing
Sandra
video
Beeman.
games.
He is always playing video games. He's a little addicted, but I mean, I guess it's better that than out killing people like his mother. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I guess if he does know, I don't know what he would do with the information, but I think that it could definitely be a big decision for them. And they've kind of had a warning with how Paige reacted to it, which didn't go as smoothly as they planned. So they might be kind of hesitant to let somebody else in on the secret.
There's really two different casts on this show. There's the cast of the family members, and there's the cast of like the spy FBI agents. And you really don't get to work with a lot of those guys. My favorite, Martha, Allison Wright, was absolutely fantastic. Or are you sad you never got to work with, at least you haven't yet, with Martha?
Yeah, I was sad like that I don't get to work with anybody that I don't get to work with. I mean, I think that it's cool that we get to work with Stan Beeman. I mean, he's the closest we'll probably get to the FBI for now. But I thought to have some scenes. At the same time, I'm not sure how much that would put the family and Martha and everybody in danger, you know, and probably would just make Paige cry again, which she does a lot. So, but I think it would be cool. I mean, no matter what the storylines are, I like working with everybody, and it's kind of weird because like we all talk and like we see each other at rap parties and things like that. But then you kind of realize that I don't even go to their sets sometimes. It's like a whole different world that they have. So that's why I really enjoy watching the show on Wednesday nights. I tune in with everybody else, just because you get to see how the whole storyline comes together, and you get to see them working like in the Russian embassy and things like that, and how their world works. So it's a different perspective.
And before we go, can you tell us anything about Wednesday's big season finale? Can you give us a little tease about what happens with Paige?
Well, for the season finale, I would say that there's definitely a lot of things that you won't expect. I mean, as always, there's always like a bunch of crazy plot twists that just kind of come out of nowhere. So I think that there's some things that will raise some questions, and there's some things that will maybe put a button on some things. So there's a lot going on, and there's so many storylines to cover, and it's been a crazy season, and I don't think the season finale will let anyone down.
Ooh, that's great. I love that. And then it just occurred to me, like, you guys won the Critics' Choice Award last year for Best Drama Series. Were you actually there at the ceremony? What was that night like when you were embraced like that by the critics?
Oh my gosh, that was probably the best nights of my life. I was there for it, and somehow it was me and Allison Wright and Annette Mahendru, and we all ended up matching somehow. We all had like shades of red in our dresses, and we were like very communist. So it was kind of funny how we all showed up and just looked good together, like in pictures and stuff. It was like it was all meant to be. It was so cool. And when they were announcing the nominations for Best Drama Series, I mean, we all kind of weren't expecting anything. Like, we were just happy to be there. I don't know, we were so excited. There was like mini cakes on the table, and I was distracted by those. And then they said the Americans, and I think my mom was sitting at the table with us, and she was the only one who screamed, because the rest of us just like sat there in silence and looked at each other and thought that they made a mistake. And we were like, wait, did they say that? And we had no idea what was going on. And then everyone had to tell us, they were like, go, that's you guys, get up, go on the stage. And so we went up, and we were all shaking and just like couldn't believe it, and all took turns like cradling the trophy. So that was an amazing night. I was really happy to be recognized.
Nice. And I really hope the Emmy voters are paying attention this year, because this is by far the best season you guys have done. And, you know, Margot Martindale won last year for guest star on your show. So we know they're watching the show. and we're really rooting for you guys at the Emmy Awards.
Thank you so much. I hope that they're watching too. I mean, it's always nice to be recognized, whether it's a cast member, the whole show, or the writers, or anybody. I mean, I think that there's a lot of people in the show who deserve some props. Everyone works really hard.
Right. Well, great talk to you today. We will see the finale on Wednesday. We're very excited for it.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Okay, bye-bye.